everyone. My name is Amita Sharma. I am co-founder of Nourish. We are on a mission to offer programs that are prevention-based in natural and holistic medicine. This is our first educational webinar, and the topic for today is Detox with Ayurveda and Yoga at Home. We have two speakers. Dr. Sharad Kulkarni, he's an Ayurveda doctor. He's from India, and Aarts, who's a stress relief expert. So from now, I'm going to give it to Dr. Sharad, who's going to walk us through this entire webinar.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing great. And I'm very much excited to join this webinar from India. And it's 9:31 p.m. IST. And just before beginning this webinar, we have some learnings to take from Lord Hanuman from the mythological text called as Ramayana, wherein Hanuman was very much powerful person or powerful lord, and then he had lots of energies with him, but also he was equally grounded. So one thing which we have to learn in this condition of crisis, which is COVID-19, is we have to stay grounded, and also we have to boost ourselves, our mental power and our physical power. Having said this, I am going ahead with what exactly is immunity. Immunity is the ability of an organism to fight against a disease or a disease causing microbe. The microbe may be virus or the microbe may be bacteria. As of now in COVID-19, it is the virus. And then, as we all know that COVID-19 is seen mainly in people who have low immunity. So today we are here in order to boost the immunity, may it be with respect to diet, may it be with respect to exercise, may it be with respect to sleep, or may it be with respect to digital detoxification. So this is how we are going to build the immunity, and then we'll have lots of recipes also wherein we can just prepare them and then we can boost our immunity. Next slide, please. I hope everyone knows about the concept of dosha in Ayurveda, which is a very basic concept. And then every one of us is a unique creation of the nature, wherein we have a unique constitution called as Prakriti in Ayurveda, wherein it is made up of dosha. The dosha are 3 in number. Vata, which is made up of space and air, that is the 5 elements, among the 5 elements, space and air. And then Pitta dosha, wherein it is of fire and water. Kapha dosha, wherein it is of water and earth. And then we have 3 states with respect to this dosha. Not the geographical states, but the biological states of the body, wherein the dosha can be in the equilibrium state, known as the balanced state, wherein all the 3 dosha are present in their natural proportions, made with respect to the quality or the quantity. The second state would be the increased state or the aggravated state or the vitiated state, wherein a particular dosha is present in greater than the normal proportion. The third one is the decreased state, wherein a particular dosha is present in a less proportion than what it has to be. It is also called as reduced state also. A person can be made up of either vata, pitta or kapha, or combination of 2 dosha or all the 3 dosha. And here, if at all a person is having predominance of vata dosha, then the person is likely to be lean, having difficulty in gaining the weight, and then getting lots of ideas, which we call as flight of ideas. And then he is almost every time prone to the disease, he or she. So in such case, what has to be the herbs which are to be used in order to balance the vata dosha? If everyone is interested, then definitely we are going ahead with that in the next slide. Next slide, please. Wherein we have the herbs to balance the vata. The first is ashwagandha, which is Withania somnifera, which is an excellent herb to boost the immunity also, to de-stress ourselves also, and also to balance the vata. And then the second one is haritaki, which is one of the key ingredient of triphala, that is 3 fruits. And then its botanical name is Terminalia cebula, which is again a wonderful herb to channelize the Vata dosha, and also it is an anti-aging herb. The third one is ginger, which is Zingiber officinale, which is an excellent digestive tonic, which helps us to in the digestive system, and also it tackles the nausea or the vomiting sensation and certain kinds of headache. The fourth one is Shatavari, which is Asparagus racemosus, which is again almost similar to Ashwagandha in its actions, but it also has a benefit of boosting the immunity and also the breast milk in feeding mother. So when it comes to the Pitta dosha, next slide please. So you might all be excited to just know what is your constitution and which constitution you belong to. In such case, the Pitta is one which is dominated by features like angerness and early graying of hairs, early wrinkling of the skin. So in such case, a person who is dominated by Pitta dosha, he can or she can use the following herbs to maintain the Pitta dosha. The first one is Amlaki or the Indian gooseberry, known as Philanthus emblica, which is an excellent anti-aging herb or the drug. And then it also helps in maintaining the skin and hair health. So it is also one of the key ingredients of Triphala. The second one is Guduchi, which is Stenospora cordifolia, which has excellent properties wherein it can boost the immunity and can be utilized in any kinds of flu or cold or cough or fever. And the third one is Brahmi, which is Bacopa moneri, which is an excellent memory booster and then helps in maintaining the concentration levels also. It is also a anti-aging herb, apart from balancing the Pitta. The fourth one is Yashti Madhu or licorice, wherein it is Glycyrrhizia glabra, and it is one of the very much important herb for people who are into the industry of either speaking or in the singing, because it is one of the herb which soothes the voice and then improves the quality of the voice. Having said that, it is also helpful to treat peptic ulcers. So some of the individuals who are having Kapha constitution, next slide please. Kapha constitution, here we can have the features like steadiness, laziness, or a person who is accustomed to sedentary lifestyle, and also who has thick curly black hairs. So if at all there is imbalance in the Kapha dosha, so some of the herbs to maintain the Kapha dosha are as follows. One is Moringa, that is Moringa oleifera, which is a key ingredient in many of the oils these days. The second one is Chitraka, which is Plumbago xylonica, again a wonderful herb to treat conditions like IBS, colitis, and then also any kinds of dysentery or diarrhea. The third one is turmeric, also pronounced as turmeric, Curcuma longa, which is an established drug in order to boost the immunity, maintain the skin health, and also boost the respiratory immunity. The fourth one is Tulsi, that is holy basil, extensively used in India. I hope many of you may correlate to Tulsi if you have heard of it. And then this is also one of the herb which boosts the respiratory immunity. Also, it is a stress buster. If the essential oil of Tulsi is used in any form, then it is a stress relieving agent. So these are the herbs which we can utilize in order to balance the dosha as per the constitution. So next, having said this, I think Ellen will be taking you towards the gunas of the mind, wherein she'll also be dealing with practical aspects, how to control, keep these in balanced state or equilibrium state through alternate nostril breathing. Over to you, Ellen.
Thank you, Dr. Sharad. Hello guys, this is Ellen from Spain. And I'm going to talk to you about the mind. So all of our minds are going through turbulence nowadays. And according to Ayurveda, according to the Vedas, there is 3 qualities of mind. And we call it the 3 gunas or qualities. and I'd like to keep it simple. So talking about the first one, sattva is clarity of your mind. The purity of thoughts is basically that state in which everything is very subtle. We can think clear, we feel clear, and it's really what you would like. Put simply, of course. And then rajas is when there's a lot of action in mind, where you get angry quickly, where you're unable to sleep, where the mind is stimulated. Maybe you know that feeling when you're wired, or when you just had maybe too much coffee, if you're a coffee drinker, where you feel really, really buzzed, you feel restless, and you can tell that your mind is very chaotic and turbulent. And rajas is basically the quality of activity. And then the other one, let's call it the opposite, is called tamas. And tamas has a quality of what we call inertia. And that is that sluggish quality, as if there's a sort of veil around your mind. You cannot think clearly, you feel demotivated, there's mental resistance, sort of almost like a feeling of depression. You cannot really move, you feel like a couch potato, right? And rajas and tamas, the ones I mentioned last, are known as doshas, so the faults of the mind, whilst sattva is the guna, it's something to strive for. And basically our mental well-being is very much determined by the quality of our mind. And all of us, again being put simply, but are probably either in rajas, so that very, very overstimulated mind, that overwhelm, or we are in a tamasic state of mind, given the current circumstances, of course, of dealing with all this uncertainty. And now the main question for all of us is, how can we achieve balance or equilibrium, right? And I'll show you a demo of that, how you can do that later in the webinar. So in addition to our minds, Ayurveda described each one of us as a dosha that expresses a unique blend of physical, of emotional and mental characteristics. Now, how can exercise help you with immunity? Well, again, being put very, very simply, is that it releases happy hormones. I'll show you yoga, of course, is very, very healthy as well. I teach yoga as well, and I'd like to talk to you about that. But first, I'd like to go to pranayama. Pranayama is one of the most powerful ways to control our breathing. Prana means life force, yama means control. And with controlling our breath, we can unify the mind with their energy, and we can basically learn to control our breathing, and also ultimately to control our immune system and to control our whole system. And the practice of pranayama means to create a deeper relationship between the mind and the subtle body. So again, that sattvic state that I was talking about earlier. And through specific breathing techniques that we're doing with pranayama, we basically increase the amount of prana, so the amount of life force in the body, and really cleansing all those subtle energetic channels. And we draw the mind into a more steady and relaxed state. So we really create a more sattvic state. And what I'd like to show you now is a very powerful pranayama exercise, and it's called alternate nostril breathing. And this helps you to connect two hemispheres of the brain that usually operate in a, let's say, very different, separate state. And through this pranayama exercise, you create those two hemispheres of the brain, creating balance, alleviate stress and anxiety. And I highly recommend, if you're feeling stressed, if you are feeling very rejectic, so that overwhelm, that very active, turbulent mind, then please follow these steps to help you find your center, okay? I'd like to show this to you now. So I'd like you to follow me, join me, and find a comfortable seat. And your legs can either be cross-legged, however you want really. Your legs can be, your feet can be on the floor. What you want is to just come into a comfortable, easy position. And then you rest your left palm on your left knee. And you move your right hand towards your nose. And then you use your right thumb. You would softly close your right nostril and you will inhale as slowly as you can through your left nostril. And then close it with your ring finger. You pause. And then you open and exhale slowly through the right. So let me finish the round first so you have the gist of it, okay? And then with the right nostril open, inhale slowly. Close it with your thumb. Pause. Exhale through the left. And then once your exhalation is complete, inhale through the left. Pause. And moving to the right. And what is very interesting in that, before we go and do this together, is that there's one energy channel that is controlling the rajas, and the other channel is controlling the tamas. And according to Ayurveda, according to the ancient yogic tradition, when we inhale through both nostrils together, we really activate that sattvic state. So, okay, let's do this together for 5 rounds. I'll keep track of it. Okay, so letting your left hand rest on your left knee, moving your right hand towards your nose, and I'll take you through it. Using the right thumb, softly close your right nostril and inhale as slowly as you can through your left. Close your left nostril with your ring finger, pause. Open and exhale through the right. Inhale slowly through the right. Close right, pause. Exhale through the left. Inhale left. Pause. Exhale right. Inhale right. Pause. Exhale through the left. Inhalation left. Pause. Exhale through the right. Inhale right. Pause. Exhale through the left. Inhale left. Pause. Exhale through the right. Okay, and now do this in your own time for a couple of rounds. I'll keep quiet so you can really focus on what is happening in your body. And then finish your round when you made your exhalation through your left nostril. Finish your round and then release your hands. Let them rest. And if your eyes weren't already closed, just close your eyes for a few moments and see if you can notice what this has done to the quality of your mind. you can sense a subtle difference. And then I'd invite you to open your eyes again. And please do let us know later at the end of the webinar if you have questions about this, okay? If this at all wasn't clear or you would like us to repeat. I'd like to share a little bit more about what you can do with yoga. Knowing that yoga can release those happy hormones, and yoga can very much, like the pranayama we just did, like meditation, can really help you in creating that sattvic state. So normally I would take more time for yoga, of course, but I wanted to share with you one pose for each dominant dosha that you can do to really balance that out. So in addition to what Dr. Sharad has shared about food, this will be the more physical part, okay? So if you have this very rajasic mind, if you are in overwhelm, if you feel that you are completely out of whack, simply put, you feel super wired, then you could do a downward facing dog. Most of you might know what the downward facing dog is, or forward fold. So you would extend your legs and you would bend forward, or you could do that standing, so your legs straight and then you would fold forward. And why is this good for rajasic minds? Because it really opens us up. It reminds us of our full capacity, and it really puts a lot of new blood into your brain. So energizing your soul, clarifying your mind, and you really unwind with these forward folds. And if you feel like there's this sluggish quality of mind, so the tamasic state, even when you feel like you can't move out of bed, then do a child's pose. A child's pose is the pose that is super soothing. You would come on your knees and you would fold all the way forward, and where you would put your forehead on the ground. But you can even do this in bed. So it's a true resting pose, and one that you can hold for as long as you want, really. But this too really clears your mind. It opens your mind, but it also physically opens your hips. It helps your digestive system, that's often very sluggish too, of course, when we have this tamasic state. And it really helps to the circulation to the muscles, the joints, and the discs of the back. So, yeah, in conclusion, both meditation, the yoga poses that I just showed you, and the pranayama, the alternate nostril breathing that I just showed you, really help us tremendously to release all this excessive rajasic energy, or in turn helps us get out of this tamasic state of mind and ultimately creating more sattva. And so many research has been done on this, and so many research has been done on how pranayama, how breathing can help us alleviate anxiety and stress. It works. I do it every day. I do it with my clients as well. So that being said, namaste. And know that I offer personalized or group programs on Nourish Doc, okay? So be very welcome. Namaste.
That was so soothing, Helen. You made most of them come out of Rajasic into Sattvic kind of mentality. I hope everyone is relaxed, feeling relaxed. That's great. Now, I shall continue with the immunity toolkit, and this will contain the simple foods that one can use in the kitchen to boost the immunity. The first one is ginger. As already I have told that it's Zingiber officinale, and this is one of the digestive tonic. The term tonic, which why I use it is because it does wonderful works or functions when it comes to the digestive part. So it is very simple to utilize also. You can just use half an inch of ginger and then just boil it in a glass of water and then consume it, or else we can add it in the tea or coffee itself and then we can consume it. When it comes to Tulsi or the holy basil, as already mentioned, it is one of the stress buster also, and then it has calming effect on the mind, and it also helps to boost the respiratory immunity. We will see how to utilize this Tulsi in the subsequent slides. And then the Indian gooseberry or the amla, which is very essential in order to boost the immunity because it is rich in antioxidants and vitamin C. Having said this, how to utilize amla or Indian gooseberry is one of the question, and the simplest way to utilize it is just keep it in pressure cooker and then steam boil it, and then after that we can just remove the seed and then consume it, or else we can also dry it and then consume it. We can also dry it and make the powder of it and use it with honey so as to boost the immunity, and also it is excellent for hair health and skin health. So some of the foods which are rich in zinc, which is also one of the mineral helpful to boost the immunity, are pumpkin seeds, oats, chickpeas, and dark chocolate. Of course, dark chocolate, which is devoid of saccharin and sugar. So it's very essential that you'll be just rotating the wrapper of the dark chocolate and then just seeing the ingredients before consuming it. So if you're ready for the next slide, kindly comment yes. So when it comes to sleep, the relation of the sleep with the immunity, we have 3 important points here, as you can see on the slide. So importance of night sleep is one thing which I usually prefer, or which I usually talk everywhere, because the NREM sleep stage 3, that is N3, is in and around 11 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. or 1 a.m., which is a very deep sleep which helps in repairing the wear and tear of the bodily cells or the tissues, and also the regeneration of the cells. So if at all we tend to sleep late, say 1 a.m. or 1:30 a.m., we definitely lose this deep sleep, and then we will also lose the benefits associated with this deep sleep, that is NREM stage 3 sleep, which is around 30 to 40 minutes. And if a person is undersleeping or oversleeping, then both of them would cause harm to that person as per the Ayurveda, because sleep is one thing on which the whole life is dependent on. May it be happiness or sadness, may it be life or death. So it's very important that a person sleeps adequately at night. If he tends to or she tends to oversleep, then there are lots of conditions like obesity which may arise, which are risk factors for some of the lifestyle disorders like diabetes mellitus or hypertension. And then a small note on day sleep: as per Ayurveda, sleeping during daytime is appreciated only if it is on a sofa or on a chair. It shouldn't be like the night sleep wherein we sleep in a supine position on a bed. So if we do that, there are all the possibilities that the kapha may get vitiated or increased, causing lots of diseases. So it's advised that we have to just sleep on a chair, which is also termed as power nap. And then there is one bridge in between sleep and exercise, that is the gadgets, or also I term it as controlled usage of gadgets, termed as digital detoxifications. Detoxification. And digital detoxification is one which is a controlled usage of smart gadgets. To be more specific, smart usage of smart gadgets. So how to do it? We have very few points here wherein we have to turn off the notifications if it is not essential, and we have to we have to postpone the random screen checking. Say if we are checking it once in 30 minutes, we can just postpone it to 1 hour or 2 hours. And then by e-detox here is switching off the data, say 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., that is 12 hours, or start with some 8 to 10 hours and then we can increase it slowly. Keep the gadgets away from the sleeping room, which is very important thing. The blue light radiation hypothesis, wherein the brain will feel that it's still daytime and then it will be reluctant to go ahead with the sleep. So it may affect our sleep. So it's very essential that we keep the gadgets away from our sleeping room or the bed. And then fixing a schedule which is like will not exceed a certain time for social media, which is a kind of addiction these days, and very much being used because of the lockdown. So we have to have the controlled usage of even social media also in order to protect our sense organs, namely eyes and ears. Next slide, please. Now, the recipes to boost immunity are as follows: 2 to 3 fresh tulsi leaves, that is holy basil leaf or leaves. We can just wash it and take half a pinch of ginger or half an inch of ginger and grind it along with 1 teaspoon of honey, and we have to just lick it early in the morning on empty stomach. This is an excellent immunity booster. And after this, we have the turmeric latte, which is 1 glass of soy milk, and people who are lactose tolerant, they can use other kinds of milks also, but here it is soy milk or the normal cow milk is also fine, plus half glass of water and half pinch of pepper powder and 1 pinch of turmeric powder. We have to boil all these together until the mixture turns into golden yellow. That's why this is also termed as either golden latte or turmeric latte. And then 20 to 30 ml of this can be utilized or consumed once in a day by a person. So this is also one of the remedy for those who are respiratory allergic to milk. A person can be allergic with respect to respiratory system or else digestive system when it comes to milk. So those who are allergic to respiratory system, when they consume the milk, they can definitely utilize this kind of recipe. Next slide, please. Yes. Now, I think most of you would be ready to go ahead and just prepare some of the recipes and then consume it, or maybe you will be giving it to your family members also. But before going to the end of the webinar, it's very important that we follow a typical routine in the lockdown. It's not like we have to alter our routine or daily regime just because we have got this kind of time. So the morning routine, once we wake up early in the morning, that is the Brahmi Muhurta, which is termed as 1.24 hours, 1 hour 24 minutes before the sunrise in Ayurveda. Once we wake up at that time, then we can begin the day with a detox tea or just ginger, which is boiled in water, as I mentioned earlier, and then added with little bit of lemon. Such 2 to 3 glasses of water can be consumed, which we can term it as detox tea. And 2 to 3 glass here should make around 750 ml, which is approximate amount of water to be consumed early in the morning on empty stomach as per Ayurveda. Next is the breathology or the pranayam. I think Alan has explained it wonderfully with the live demonstration also. So that should be practiced for 10 minutes. And then massage with the oil. If at all there is no much time to massage the whole body, then definitely don't forget to massage these 3 parts, that is scalp along with the hairs, ears and the feet along with the oil, and then go ahead with the bathing. Gratitude prayer is one of the important things with which we have to begin the day or begin the work, because we have to be grateful to most of the things, many of the things and many of the persons, the result of which we are here. And then when it comes to bedtime routine, as said by Alan, we can do some gentle stretches, and before to that we can have a warm coconut milk with a pinch of turmeric, which will be taking care of the day stress which we had undergone. And then massaging the feet with the oil maybe sesame oil, mustard oil, olive oil, or even coconut oil also. And then definitely we have to end the day with the gratitude prayer, because it is again one of the things which will help us to be positive in all the manner. And then universe is one thing which we have to be grateful for, because it is giving us lots of things and we have to be grateful for it. So having said this, I'm ending this webinar. If you have any questions, now the webinar is open for the question and answer session. Please feel free to comment in the chat box. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sharad and Ellen, for such an insightful webinar. My name is Amita Sharma. As I said earlier, we are open for questions. If anyone has questions, they can type it in. I think there was a question earlier that I saw. What somebody wanted to learn about what is the common name of ashwagandha. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, Dr. Sharad?
Definitely. So Withania somnifera is one which is an established drug to boost the strength, overall strength in general, and the sexual power of the males, in to be specific. So it is one of the herb which is established for that, and we use it extensively in our practice in the cases of maybe oligospermia or any kinds of deformities associated with the male reproductive system. And then this is one of the herb which has excellent properties of de-stressing, that is, it acts as an anti-stress agent. So if at all we get the ashwagandha powder, it's very easy to get it, procure it. So if we get the ashwagandha powder, if at all we utilize it along with honey, maybe half spoon of ashwagandha powder and then 1 teaspoon of honey, if we mix it and then just lick it on a regular basis, then it is a stress busting drug or herb. So that is one thing which we can always follow, and it is also termed as Indian ginseng for the person who was asking about the common name, and the botanical name is Withania somnifera.
Well, thank you so much. I don't see any more questions. You are welcome to have consultations with Dr. Sharad and Ellen on Nourish Talk, as they said earlier. I just want to wait for a couple of seconds. Let's see, I do see a couple of questions here. Okay, so one of them is, how good is pranayam for somebody suffering from respiratory disorders? That is one of the questions. So maybe Ellen, do you want to take that? And both of you can take that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can say what I know. I think the one that we just did. So the alternate nostril breathing. If you have breathing problems, then I don't think this is the one I would recommend, because especially because we pause, that might sort of stimulate this anxious type of breathing. So what I would suggest, if somebody's suffering from respiratory disorders, to very simply focus on the breathing by, for example, just placing the hands on the belly and focus first on where your hands are on the belly, and just focus on the natural inhalation and exhalation. So, but maybe Dr. Sharad can tell me if this is correct me if I'm wrong. But basically, very simply put, we can breathe from our chest, right, or from down from the abdominal parts. And the more we can breathe with our abdomen, so the belly breath, the more deeper we breathe and the more oxygen, the more our parasympathetic, so our relaxation response is stimulated. So if you or somebody else is suffering from any type of breathing problems, then I would suggest just first connect with the very simple natural breath. And don't focus on pausing or retention from breath, but just the natural inhalation and the natural exhalation. And then the more you do that, the more slow and deep the breath may become. So keep it simple. And then maybe see later on how alternate nostril breathing goes. But I wouldn't start with that. I would start with something very simple. Let me know if that's clear enough. And Dr. Sharad, if you have any comments, or if I explained that well.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ellen, but we get such cases in our common practice wherein they'll be having common obstructive pulmonary disorder, COPD, may it be allergic bronchitis or any kind of disorder, wherein we treat them with herbal medicines first before starting with pranayama. And then once they are okay with the breathlessness, like once we make sure that they no more have that breathlessness or dyspnea, and then we rule out all the other underlying diseases or underlying risk factors, then we suggest them the pranayama, wherein Alan has absolutely told it right. The Puraka, that is deep inspiration, Kumbhaka is holding, and Rechaka is exhalation. This kind of pattern cannot be followed by a person who is having severe breathlessness. So in such case, we have to treat them with the herbal medicines first, and then definitely we can go ahead with the pranayama, because this breathology will help them to boost the respiratory immunity, which will avoid the recurrence of such diseases. All the COPD are recurrent. Like if a person will go ahead and eat some oily food or some cold food, or the weather will change, if it is winter or kind of rainy season, it may trigger again. So aggravating factors will be there. In such case, along with the herbal medicines, if we go ahead with breathology or the pranayama or the breathing exercise, then definitely we will take care that such recurrence rates are reduced drastically. If at all they get also, the severity would be much more lesser than what they used to get it earlier.
So there's one more question, continuing question with the same thing. They're asking how many minutes of pranayama a day you recommend. And then the second continuation of the same topic is how to make mind more positive in this era, besides just doing the pranayams. So I think all of us are going through this. So I'm going to let you talk about what else can we do? And how much time do you recommend that we do the breathing exercise, the pranayams?
Who's going to take this one?
I'm not me. I'm not the expert here.
No. Do you want to tell me? I'm very happy to answer, of course. Shall I start? Okay.
Yeah, you can start, please.
Okay. Well, I agree with Dr. Sharad that the 10 minutes of pranayama when you, as part of the morning routine, is excellent. But I also like to embrace a realistic point of view. Sometimes we just don't feel like it. I'm totally up for a routine. I have quite a strong routine myself as well, as the morning routine and bedtime routine. But any minute you can make for pranayama would be beautiful. So if 10 minutes is way too much, then do a few minutes, okay? And then, unless you have breathing problems, then do the alternate nostril breathing and just do a couple of minutes. That's already beautiful. But if you have the time, and I highly recommend that you make time for that, then 10 minutes is a beautiful way to start with. And then how to make the mind more positive in this era. Besides pranayama, I think that's a very, very important, very beautiful question. There's many ways that I, as a person or for my profession, I can answer. So let me just say what comes in my mind. I wholeheartedly agree with gratitude. I think gratitude, you sometimes hear the phrase of raises our vibration. It puts us in our hearts, and when we are in that space of the higher part of the emotions, then it's much more easy to deal with all the other challenges. To sweat in the morning is also a very good way to release happy hormones. So an active yoga practice, or if you have a trampoline, that's very beautiful as well. Sometimes also to just embrace that we cannot be positive all the time. I think what I love in meditation is a meditation of acceptance. So rather than resisting, because I have negative thoughts too, definitely, to sort of just meditate, to breathe, to notice that we have negative thoughts, to recognize them, to accept them, and to really open up that space towards ourselves. We can do a lot with yoga, we can do a lot with going outside, but also sometimes it's the mindset of we cannot be positive all the time. It's a beautiful way to live, but to acknowledge as well that negative thoughts are a part of what we all go through. Yes, let me know.
There's another question in one is that the lemon that you talked about, Dr. Sharad, and combined with your breathing as well, would that impact the teeth enamel if one takes ginger and lemon tea every day in the morning?
Yes.
And so maybe you can combine the both questions and answer.
Yeah. So I'll answer this first. Will lemon impact the teeth enamel? Definitely yes. So if it is taken on a longer run, it will affect the enamel. So what we have to do is, such things we have to do it when we feel low with respect to immunity. So we can just take it for maybe a fortnight, maybe a month, till a month we can continue it. And then after that we can just give a gap of around fortnight, 15-20 days or 4 weeks. Then again restart it. So by doing such things, definitely it will not affect the enamel. And the staying positivity, definitely the gratitude prayer which we were talking about will help a lot in order to stay positive, because beginning the day with gratitude and lots of positivity, it creates lots of positivity, and then ending the day with a gratitude prayer will help us negotiate the negative thoughts and then just not entertain such thoughts. And then what happens is, as I've already mentioned, brain is a very disciplined organ when it comes to maybe circadian rhythm, when it comes to the thoughts. So once we start ignoring the negative thoughts, or once we don't entertain the negative thoughts, over a period of time, the negative thoughts tend to be lesser. So the incidence of negative thoughts will be lesser, or the number and the severity of the negative thoughts would be lesser. So that's how we can build the positivity in us and also around us.
Okay, we have one more question. She's asking that if there's any particular postures to increase the blood circulation, because that's also another way of boosting immunity. Is there particular
yoga?
Yoga.
Yoga postures, right? I mean, there's so many yoga poses that you can do to increase the blood circulation, because basically what we do with yoga is we stretch the body, and because we use our breath in the posture, with that breath we move the energy, we send more oxygen, we send more blood into the particular parts of the body that we stretch. So I could give you loads of examples, but for example, the downward facing dog, especially if you start to walk the dog, so if you start to stretch your feet, your legs with it. The forward fold is an excellent way to increase the blood circulation. If you had a very rough day and you feel lazy but you want to relax, what is really great to increase the blood circulation, especially if you do a lot of sitting, then you can place your legs against the wall, which is excellent to increase blood circulation in your upper body. The child's pose that I suggested is very good. What you can also do to increase blood circulation in your whole spine is the cat-cow. And because we use the breath in the poses, so breathe in, breathe out, we really activate the whole, and we really enhance the whole flow of energy, the flow of blood through the whole body. So there's many options to do that.
That's absolutely right. And added with it, we can have Mayurasana, which is very difficult, but it comes on by practice. Mayurasana is peacock posture. So if at all anyone is able to do, then it's excellent for boosting the blood circulation. Also, as Ellen told, the shoulder stand also, that is Sarvangasana. So these two would be the greatest asanas. Mayurasana, of course, stands first, and it's very difficult to master it. It needs lots of practice. Sarvangasana is the easy one, that is shoulder stand, and it's very good for improving the blood circulation in the whole body, especially the upper part, that is towards the head.
So we have two more questions actually. It's great. We're getting a lot of engagement. So one of the question is, they're asking if we drink the water early in the morning is beneficial, but can we drink the water in between the meals? Is it useful for or harmful? That's one question. And then the other question is on your enamel. We can mix honey with ginger and do paste-like function, then it will not stain your enamel. That was a comment rather than a question. So I think the drinking water is, we have a lot of questions coming in, more questions coming in right now, but please answer, talk a little bit about the water drinking. I think a lot of us get confused when we want to drink water and when not to.
Yes, thank you for this question. And one thing which I want to highlight here, which is a wonderful concept in Ayurveda, is the relation of food and the water, like how we have to drink the water along with respect to the food. If at all a person wants to gain weight, or if a person wants to become stout, then that person has to drink water post food, that is after food. And if at all a person wants to lose the weight or wants to be lean, then the water intake has to be, or water has to be consumed just before the food. And if a person has to maintain how he or she is, that is the moderate posture, if they want to maintain that, then they have to drink the water along with the food, that is in between the meals. So these three things are the relations of water along with the food intake: before lean, in between as it is, post food stout, that is fat. So this is wonderful concept mentioned in Ayurveda, and I hope I have answered that question.
Yeah, I think all of us are going to now start taking water before. So all of us want to remain thin.
And it works. It works. Definitely.
And before. Okay, so we have a more specific personalized question from someone who's an anemic. I would highly recommend that you seek personal consultation. This particular webinar is only for education. We cannot, do any personalized consultations here in the webinar. Any other questions before we close? Then I think I don't see any other questions. So wanted to thank all of you for joining us. Myself, Dr. Sharad, Alan. I hope this was very useful for all of you. Please go to Nourish Talk. Both of them are available. And please give us your comments and feedback. We are going to be running these webinars on a weekly basis. And we thank you for joining us. Namaste.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Nourish,
Namaste. Thank you
for hosting this. Thank you again for being my partner.
Thank you.
And namaste for everyone. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu. Let's all stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you.